on your marketing, you're not sure how to get leads for your photo booth business, or maybe you're trying to increase your price, you're trying to figure out how to do that or break into a new market, maybe you've only done weddings before and you really want to break into corporate, then this is exactly the course that you want to be looking at. So I know a lot of people are wondering, why free events? That sounds crazy. We all have bills to pay. I have employees to pay. How do you make a living doing free events? I want you guys to think of it this way. You have no problem spending money on like Bark or Yelp or anything like that to pay for ads. Instead, you're going to take that money and pay your best marketer that you have, which is yourself, and your employees and your own photo booth. And you're going to invest that back into your own business by finding those targeted events, and you're going to pay yourself to do the marketing. So that's why I want you guys to think about it this way instead of being like just giving away your services for free, because that is not the point here. All right. So today we are going to go over quite a few things. The introduction, which we just did, and I'm going to go over some of the basics that we need to learn before we can actually go into how to do these events for free. So first of all, target market, we're going to talk all about that. We're going to break it down, how to create your offer, how to follow up, because this is one of the steps that everyone misses most of the time. Maximizing your event exposure, so making sure that you get every single piece of exposure that is actually going to pay your bills after. How you can actually seal the deal after the fact, how to get paying clients after you do your free event, and then a conclusion. All right. So we're going to talk about target market here. So your target market, for those of you who are maybe new to the industry, is really the group of people that are really going to resonate with your product. So if you have a very specific product and you really look at targeting a specific person, you're going to have the most success, because you're going to have a smaller pool of people that are searching for this service, and you're going to be more specialized. If you try to be a jack of all trades and you offer services for weddings and for corporate and bar mitzvahs and everything under the sun, this is where you're going to start to have problems actually booking, and you're going to probably be doing a lot of discounting and price matching. So I'm going to give you some examples of what a target market is, because a lot of people are like, if I ask them, what's your target market? They say weddings. Weddings is not a target market. That is an entire sector. Within that sector, there's 10, 15, 20 different target markets that you can have. So a target market would be a wedding planner that has clients that have a budget of over $100,000. And you can even break it down more, because that person's probably only having weddings at certain venues in certain locations. And this is literally how detailed I want you to get with any of your target markets. Maybe you're targeting venues, and that venue has to have a starting price of $200 per person or more. I don't want you to go after free venues unless that is your target audience and you're trying to do volume. If you're trying to do corporate, a corporate planner that only deals with Fortune 500 companies, very specific as to what kind of events they do. And then you need to look at their pain points, because every single one of these target audiences has different pain points that you need to address. Just because they have clients that are over $100,000 for weddings doesn't mean that they don't have unique problems. The problems that a wedding planner has are very different than a corporate planner. So for example, maybe they struggle to find reliable vendors, right? Or maybe they have a very specific modern look that they're going for, and they only ever want to have a photo booth that falls within that. Like, I have clients that they would absolutely never hire a company that has their name branded on a spandex table. Like, that is a hard pass for them right there. But there's other places that they don't care. They just are looking for someone who is able to come with props and a backdrop, and that is their niche, and that's okay. Just make sure you define it so that you know who you're going after. One of the big ones for us is that we generally find that the people we work with the same vendors, especially when it comes to weddings. So when we know that if a wedding has hired XYZ photographer, or maybe they're using a different decorator, then that person is likely going to be our target client as well. I'm not used to having a clicker on my phone. All right. It's really important to understand your target audience, because again, they all have very different pain points. So once you've defined that, remember that you'll have the workbook that'll help you work through this for your own business. But once you've defined that, you'll be able to actually figure out what their pain points are. And then that is actually gonna help you with your marketing. So if you've ever struggled trying to figure out like, I don't know what kind of Instagram post to do, or I don't know what kind of ads I should be putting out there, this is where you're gonna refer back to this every single time. Because every single one of your Instagram posts should be referencing some sort of solution that you're providing with your service. It's also going to help you develop new products. So if you're looking at corporate and this is your main thing that you're going after, your clients are probably looking for the next best thing. So you'll be able to come here to Photo Booth Expo and be like, oh, what's the next thing I need to get? Is a robot arm maybe the next thing my clients need? You'll be able to really decide what you want to spend your money on rather than just randomly buying things and trying to figure out if it's going to work. You're also going to be able to build a much stronger relationship because, again, you're going to speak their language. Like, how many times when you meet someone who's in the photo booth industry and you guys start talking about stuff that only you know, like how your clients book you like a day before, and these are the things that you guys actually will bond over. It's the same when you're dealing with a planner or a corporate planner as well. They have things that they're going to want to bond with you over that are only unique to you being able to understand them. You're also going to be able to see all of the trends that are happening in that sector because, again, weddings are very different. Luxury weddings are very different than your common weddings, right? So, like someone who's getting married at a church versus someone who's getting married at like the art museum, the modern art museum. Very, very different trends that are happening. The modern art people probably want some sort of artist doing real-time painting. They want like gold chairs that are actually made out of gold, all these kind of things. The other people are like, I just want a good time. So it's very different what they want. Let's take a look at what targeting corporate looks like. Because again, within the corporate world, there's so many little niches in there, and I'm just gonna go over a few of them to give you an idea. So these are the three main streams that you'll find in corporate. We have internal marketing agencies, and they generally tend to do like staff events, or they'll do trade shows. They might do either internal trade shows or when they're launching a product or something like that, and they'll do a lot of holiday parties, obviously. This is a big one for almost everyone. And event sponsorship. So like they might be the main sponsor for a race in your city or for a charity event, something like that. Then we have agencies, and agencies are a completely different beast than dealing with an internal marketing agency. So agencies are like a PR agency, advertising agency. They do huge brand activations. They do pop-ups. They do like that crazy stuff that you see, like the Cheetos thing that they had here in Vegas, where you could get married by Chester Cheetah and probably had a Cheeto photo booth, who knows. But these are the kind of things that they do. They're really out there and they want stuff that is totally custom. Then of course you have event planners that kind of do a little bit of everything. They do some, parties for companies. They might also do some charity events, of course, holiday parties, that kind of stuff. But even though the event planners and the internal marketing agencies have similar targets, they still have different pain points, right? The event planner is dealing with a client who's probably not answering their emails, who's probably not giving them the information that they need, and they're pretty much trying to herd a cat while dealing with you. Whereas when you're dealing with the internal marketing agencies, you're dealing directly with them, but you're probably dealing with like an admin person who doesn't have signing authority. So again, very different things that you're working with each one. So where do you find corporate events? These are the kinds of events that you want to be looking at to sponsor. Association events, pretty much all of these places have associations. So like Meeting Planners of America, or you might have like a PR agency association, something like that. They have mixers every couple of months. They have educational seminars. They have trade shows. Those are the kinds of events that you want to be looking at if you're targeting those specific people. I can tell you for a fact that you're never going to find these people at a school fundraiser unless it's by complete fluke that someone's parent just happens to work there and see you. You're never going to see them at a fair where you need to charge someone $5 for a photo. Like, just don't do that. Markets, carnivals, no. Don't ever sponsor those things unless, again, your niche is to do small parties. If that's your niche, go for it. Not for corporate, though. What about weddings? Weddings is the same thing. There's so many sub-niches within a wedding. So we have wedding planners. Those are the people that have clients that come back to you, so you don't have to go find them. If you get in with a wedding planner and they love you, they will never look the other way unless a client absolutely makes them. They will come to you every single time. Our close ratio with a wedding planner is usually about 90 to 95%. Like, we know if we're getting an email from them, it's because they vetted the client for us, they know what they want, and they usually tell us, I want this exact booth for this much time with this, this, and this, and we just send it and they sign. So that's why I love wedding planners so much. But they also have a very specific aesthetic, and they usually have a budget that they work with. So they'll only work with certain clients and certain budgets. You know, maybe they're modern, maybe they're, you know, romantic. They have a very specific look to each one of them. Venues is totally different, because you can get in with a venue as a preferred vendor, right? And they will refer you to every single couple that comes in, but they're not necessarily required to hire you. Maybe they are, some venues do that. But they have very different ways of selling. So that one you kind of have to work a little bit harder at, because you're not really going to be able to get in front of the person, and that venue is probably not going to be selling you quite as much. But they definitely have a very specific niche. Normally, again, it's not quite necessarily the luxury market, because they come with like a built-in day of planner. And then going to couples directly. If you want to target couples directly, then you're probably going to look at Google, Facebook, that kind of stuff, depending on, you know, what your target audience is. But people who book you directly generally don't have a planner, and they have a different budget for that. So again, you would talk to them very different. When you're dealing with someone direct, you have to educate them so much on what it is you do, and spend a lot of time just explaining to them what the hell a template is, because they're never going to get it. So where do you find the right clients for weddings? Again, depending on which one you want to target, and please only pick one. You cannot successfully target more than one at a time. Association events, again, these are great wedding planner associations. They have them everywhere. Don't tell me that they don't. Meetups, you know, we have like a group of wedding professionals that was built out of a Facebook group, and they meet up once a year. We sponsor those open houses. We sponsor those events because we know that every single one of our ideal target client is going to be there. And we want to make sure that they know absolutely everything that we have to offer that year. So these are the things that I always ask every time I'm looking at a event to sponsor potentially. Sometimes I'll go out and look for them, but sometimes people do come to me, and after they fill out my 17-page form telling me why I should sponsor their event, then I will review it. And if you guys want that form, it's available on my Instagram. You can download it for free. So I will always ask them, ask myself, is my target audience going to be there? Who is actually in attendance, and who are the other vendors that are going to be there? What's the ticket price for admission? For me, I will never go to an event that has a ticket price of under $250 a person, because I know for me, for weddings or for corporate, they are not going to have my people. Does the aesthetic of the event align? Because if I'm going to be spending a ton of money making sure that my setup looks amazing, but your event looks terrible, and I'm going to waste my time, then we're probably not going to align, because that is something that is important to me, and if it's not important to that person, then we are misaligned there. Is the venue in line with the same kind of clientele that I want? Are the same people going to be booking this venue that are going to be booking me as well? And then of course, and the most important one, guys, is where's the placement and operation times? I don't want to be in another room. I want to be in the room with everything is happening. I also don't want to be set up during like a conference where there's talks in between, because people aren't going to use the photo booth. You guys aren't using a photo booth right now. There's probably hundreds of them here, right? You guys are sitting here. So you want to make sure that the time actually aligns properly so that people can use your photo booth. So let's talk about how to create your offer. Because again, you can't just go out there and be like, hey, I want to give you a free photo booth. Have any of you guys tried that before and gotten absolute radio silence? No one is like, well, I don't know what this is. This is probably spam. Maybe you DM someone, they're just like, no. There's a reason for that, because you have to actually structure it a certain way. It needs to provide them something that's mutually beneficial, but it needs to look like you're doing way more for them. Make it all about them. So let's look at what it looks like for both of them, because again, very different. And I know there's a lot of DJs in here as well as photo booth owners. This works for either, right? This is gonna work for your DJ business and it's gonna work for your photo booth business as well. So what you wanna ask yourself every single time is, what is the main problem that your service is going to solve? Regardless of what your event is, this should always be what you're asking when you're talking to someone. So let's say you're targeting marketers, right? You are looking at an event, they're having a mixer, and there's a company that's sponsoring it, the whole mixer, but you want to sponsor the photo booth because they're bringing in all of the account managers that you want to work with. So you want to ask yourself, what can you provide to them that will be like, I absolutely need to have this photo booth here, and then you can also bring in what you need to do. So let's say for this one, they probably want something that is going to entertain their guests. Maybe they want to have people mingle because all these people don't know each other. So how can you create a photo booth that would help them do that? Maybe you offer them a mosaic booth that has like actions on it. They take a photo, it gives them an action, they have to go find a person, something like that. You're now creating a solution to the problem that they had and making sure that these people could actually network. So when you're building these out, you want to make sure that that is really showing to your client what they're getting, but then you also need to make sure that you ask for what you want. And generally speaking, they're more than happy to give you a sponsorship package in turn for what you're going to be offering them. So a couple of quick tips. I want you to always show your value when you're creating this, meaning that if you're saying, okay, I'm going to give you this photo booth for 3 hours for free, you're not going to say for free. You're going to say this photo booth is normally $2,000, but we're going to sponsor this event for you in exchange for your silver, sponsorship package. Make sure that your requests are so clear. Night and day, bullet points, do not bury them into a paragraph. I want you to make them so clear because people don't read. I also want you to make it all about them. Don't talk about how amazing you are. Don't talk about how cool your photo booth is and how many features it has. I want you to talk all about them, their event, how amazing it is, and how you're also going to help them do it. But that should be the smallest amount of it. So this is a sample of one of the corporate emails. I know that's really impossible to read. Again, don't worry about screenshotting it or anything. You will get the actual download that you can copy and paste at the end of this. But just to break it down, you're going to do a very short introduction, who you are, make it friendly, change the tone to be however your tone is. Kind of bring it in, being like, hey, I noticed that you're doing this event. I think this would align really well. Here are the things that I've seen that I think we could help you, fix in this event, whether it's networking, all that kind of stuff. I want you to outline that. And this script is in there, so you can just change the words to however you need to. Then you're going to say, hey, this is the package that I'm offering you. It's valued at this much, but I'm going to give it to you in exchange for this sponsorship package, which is going to give me this, 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 and this. So you, again, make sure you outline it. I want this many social media mentions. I want, my logo printed here. Make sure that's in your contract. And make sure you outline what's going to happen if that gets missed, too. All right, so for weddings, very different goals, right? If you're targeting someone for a wedding, you're probably going to go after a venue or a wedding planner. I don't recommend offering a free event just to a couple because sure, they have friends that might get married, but you're not going to get reoccurring business from them, hopefully. So again, what is the main problem that you can solve for these people? Compliment a wedding planner's work. The first thing you need to do is compliment their work, find something on their Instagram, on their website, and be like, I loved what you did here, but make sure you're genuine, please. Don't try and can I swear on this? Yeah. Don't try and bullshit them, please. Make sure that your style aligns with their style. If you are trying to go after a super luxury market and your photo booth and your branding doesn't align, your chances are going to be really slim. We literally exploded our entire photo booth brand and redid everything to align with all of the people that we work with. So if I go to the website of any of the planners, any of the photographers that I work with, they look very similar to ours. we have very similar quality images on our website as they do. And so that's why when I reach out to people and they come to my website and they see it, they instantly respond to us. If you don't align, you're not gonna get responses. So just make sure that you're not trying to jump from 0 to 100. You gotta go one step at a time. Be humble. Do not talk about how amazing you are and how many reviews you have on Google and how so-and-so said you were amazing. Don't do that, please. You always want to make sure that you ask for a great location when you're at a wedding. Like if you're offering a wedding planner a free booth for one of their clients, make sure that they put you in an area that is going to be used a lot. Also, in a very pretty area so you can take lots of photos so that you can actually use that for your own marketing afterwards. You always want to make sure that the planner is going to mention you in any social media post, because I can tell you that a lot of planners look at what other planners are doing, venues look at what other planners are doing, and couples look at Instagram accounts. So you want to make sure that you are mentioned every single time. That's why you're going to outline it in the contract, and you're going to tell them in the email, and then you're going to remind them in person. Make sure the DJ mentions you. DJs, please shout out your photo booth. Like, it's really nice when the DJ says, hey, don't forget to check out the photo booth, it's over here. Every time that happens, there's like a crowd of people that come by. So it's really nice for those DJs that do it, thank you. Again, here's a sample email. It's very similar to the other one, so I'm not going to go into it in detail. You will get this one as well, so you can copy and paste it and then send it out, change it to however you want. The art of follow-up. A lot of people send out this email and then they don't follow up. They're like, oh, this person didn't respond to me. You're offering them a free event, and then you're like, was it really, like, is it so bad that they don't even want a free photo booth? That's not it. People get busy. Do you know that I get emails that sometimes I don't respond to for like 6 days because I accidentally archived it, or maybe it gets buried underneath like 100 other emails? It's not that I don't want to respond to someone, it's that I kind of forget, and I appreciate it every time someone follows up with me because it puts it right to the top of my inbox. So follow up often. Literally just do this, because also you don't want to get stuck in spam. And one of the things that I do is once I send out a request, I will try to contact them from another way. So LinkedIn, text message, I'll even leave them a voicemail just saying, hey, just want to make sure you got my proposal. It might have hit your spam box. Everything is going into spam nowadays. And unless you have your email system set up like crazy, you're going to end up in the promotions folder for Gmail. And this is why following up is so important. So many times I'll send a text message and then they'll say, oh, I didn't see that. It was in my spam folder. This is the list of all the stuff that I essentially do. And here's a couple of follow-up emails that I'll send. So even if I can see if someone's opened an email, how many times they've opened the email, who in their company has actually opened the email. It's kind of creepy what you can do nowadays with a lot of CRM systems. So if I see that they opened the email multiple times, I'll then hit them up with a follow-up right away. So I always check a day or two after to see whether or not there's been any activity on there. And then I'll hit them up with a follow-up email like this. And a lot of times, like, I just keep it super light, just saying, hey, just want to see if you actually got my email, if you had any time, do you have any questions, that kind of stuff. So there's a sample there for a text or an Instagram DM. A lot of people actually are on DMs now, especially if you're dealing with weddings. There's 2 more follow-ups, so you guys will get all of those. I'm not going to read them though. All right, so how to make sure that you get the most exposure at your event. And I know exposure bucks don't pay the bill. Trust me. But they really don't pay the bills if you don't do this properly. If you show up to a free event and you do this really bad, you're going to waste hundreds of dollars. So when you are doing a corporate event, you want to show the absolute best that you have. Okay? You're not going to show up with a table filled with random props and just some random backdrop. You need to make sure that whatever you bring to this event aligns perfectly with whatever they're doing. Their branding, everything. Do not put your logo all over the map. Not on a tablecloth, not on a backdrop, not on the printout. You're going to do it tastefully. If you're going to do it on the printout, it needs to actually work with the design, okay? Maybe a logo doesn't work, but maybe your website works, right? Where you can brand excessively is in the email. And that's why we always like to do email when we're doing any type of these events. I can put my name, my links, everything, Instagram, all over that email. Make sure, again, that you align with the event goals. So if they are looking to collect emails, then great, turn on the disclaimer, collect all of those emails. If they're looking for something that's really fun and engaging, maybe you do a 360, right? Don't be scared to spend a lot in showing the best product that you have just because the event is free. So many people are like, this event's free, I'm just gonna bring like a digital iPad booth. That's not gonna impress them. You need to stand out from the rest of the crowd. So this is a sample of one event that we did where we really wanted to capture an enclosure for our 360, and we had this enclosure that we had gotten printed. And so this event is filled with local business entrepreneurs, companies, and all that kind of stuff that they do all the sponsors. So it gets us a lot of exposure, and we collected over 350 emails that night. So here you'll see that we have our branding very tastefully at the bottom, that bottom left, I think for you guys? Yeah, bottom left, you'll see our logo's just at the bottom of the outro card on the 360. It's on the bottom of the screen for the share screen. But aside from that, you don't see our logo anywhere else, but it's also in the email. So they're gonna know who we are, and we get tons of people who will actually tag us because we'll put our tags inside the email and they will share it to social media and tag us. All right, for weddings, this one's also important. You need to dress very differently for a wedding as you would for a private party. So if you're doing a wedding, you need to go dressed to impress. Please, especially for luxury, you need to wear something more than a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. If you show up to a luxury wedding wearing jeans and a t-shirt, you're not gonna be impressing any planner. They might not say anything to you, but trust me, they're talking to their colleagues about it. Make sure your quality is amazing. You need to be so comfortable with what you are doing when you're going after these. You need to know that you're able to deliver. Do not show up doing an event that you've never done before. If you just bought a robot arm, do not do your first event for free using your robot arm. You need to practice in your office with your friends, your family, before you do any of this. And again, make sure you align with the aesthetic. I'm just gonna say that a million times. Couple more tips for, oh, sorry, this is another sample for you guys. This is a wedding open house that we did for a local venue. And so they bring all of their couples for the year to do a tasting. They can actually select all their linens, all that kind of stuff. So we set up 2 or 3 different photo booths that we want to show off to them. And we book about 6 to 8 couples at about $2,500 a pop from this one event. And we get all these amazing photos from it too, because it's all very well planned out and very beautiful. So a couple more tips. You can have tasteful signage. Especially for a corporate event, I strongly recommend that you have a sign that says free photo booth, because a lot of times people don't know that it's free, especially if you're at a trade show or something like that. I actually got a message from someone just a couple of days ago on Facebook telling me how amazing that one tip was for them and how busy their photo booth was. They got hundreds of emails from just adding this because they were struggling to get people through their photo booth when they were doing these events. Email collection should be the only sharing that you do, unless your target is to go after texting and maybe you do text marketing. But we only ever do email collection because then we take those emails, obviously we do the disclaimer, and then we can add them to our mailing list. A lot of people think that mailing lists are dead, and they are not. They are literally what you should be spending the majority of your time on. They are making a huge comeback, and especially long form. I write some of the longest emails ever, and as I'm writing them, I'm like, no one's gonna read this for my course. And I send them out, and we have like a 60% open rate, and people actually click on everything. It baffles my mind, but long form is 100% coming back. Make sure you bring business cards. I know that business cards might be dead. Some of you guys have digital ones, but trust me, people like to have a tangible product sometimes. They might throw it out later, but they're gonna remember it for the time that they have it. They might take a picture of it. They might follow you on Instagram. Bring business cards. I gotta speed up here because I'm about to run out of time, and I want you guys to be able to ask questions. Okay, so this is how you're gonna seal the deal after. So you've done the event, you've shown the absolute best photo booth that you possibly can, and the event's done. Now what? You wanna actually get paying clients out of this, and there's a very specific way you're gonna do that. The thing is, if you don't ask for it, you're not gonna get it. You might get people who sign up or ask you for their contact information on site, but I want you to make sure, again, that you follow up with them. So after the event, you're gonna make sure that you do all of this. You wanna follow up with your contact. Have them give you some feedback, anything. And the way you're gonna do this is by sending them gallery. Even if they have a live gallery, maybe they already have the link, it doesn't matter. Whoever your contact was, you're gonna send them an email, say, hey, your event was so amazing. We had such a great time. Here's the link to your live gallery. Also, would love to hear any feedback you have, all that kind of stuff. Then you're gonna ask them for more business. What's the next event we'd love to quote on? We'd love to know if you have any clients coming up that maybe need a proposal for a photo booth. You need to ask for this stuff. They might even come back to you and just say, you know what, right now I don't have anything, but they're gonna keep you in mind. And just keep following up with them every 3 to 6 months. Just even saying hi, sending them an interesting article, anything to keep you top of mind for them. So here's a sample of a follow-up for a wedding. Again, I'm not gonna go through this one. You guys can download it. And then also one for the corporate events. Okay. So that is literally the entire overview of how we do free events. And for those of you who wonder whether or not this is a sustainable model, I've been doing this for 10 years. And to this day, still, we do this. We try to sponsor at least 6 to 10 events every single year, sometimes more, depending on whether or not we're trying to break into a new market or not. So for weddings and for corporate, we do this. Now, the first event I ever did when I was starting out, I sponsored this networking lunch called Ladies Who Lunch. And it's literally just a bunch of women who get together and have lunch. And we did a photo booth, and from that one event, we got 2 of our biggest corporate clients that have brought us millions of dollars in revenue over the past 10 years. And to this day, we still work with them. And this is why we do this. We target every single quarter minimum. I look for events that we can sponsor. There's ones that we do year over year because every single year we get more people from it. And that one event that maybe I dropped anywhere between $500 to $1,500 on equipment, personnel, that kind of stuff, will bring us back tens of thousands of dollars of contacts and reoccurring revenue over the years. So I promised you guys you would get access to the course, and you can just scan that QR code with your phone, type in your email address, and it'll give you access to the back end of the Unleash Your Reach course, where you'll get your workbook. You can download the workbook. You can go through all of the steps. It'll help you figure out your target audience. It'll help you figure out what your offer is going to be. It has all the email templates in there as well. And you'll have access to this at any time. If you also have questions, there's a spot at the bottom where you can make comments, you can ask questions, and I will personally answer them for you. With that, does anyone have any questions?
Canary, you said in the contract, you spelled out what happens if they don't follow through on all your things. What are the consequences?
I mean, it depends on what it is, but we try to put some sort of monetary value on each thing.
Okay.
So like if they don't do something, then they have to pay us essentially X amount. It has happened to us once where they didn't do it,
Okay.
and then they went back and fixed it. But it's at least something that you can go back to and reference and say, you guys forgot about this, can you fix it please? 9 times out of 10 they will. They don't usually do it maliciously.
Yeah.
And now that you have the answer, what was the question?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. The question was that if you outline in the contract what it is that you want and then they don't do it, what's the consequence? If anyone else has a question, if you could raise your hand, and Scott is going to get you a microphone.
Are we in Q&A mode now? Or are you
yeah,
still...
I actually went a lot faster than I had intended.
So I'm going to make life easy for everybody. Come to me. I got maybe 10 minutes at best with this beautiful, smart, intelligent young lady. Speaking of smart and intelligent, who are you?
Chantel Borden, Maryland. Hello. My question is, how long did it take for you to figure out who your target market was?
So when I first started out, we had a pretty good idea of who our target market was. We saw a need for photo booths that were more stylized, and so we were going after a bit of a broader wedding corporate. People who were looking for more stylized photo booths. And then from there, we just kept iterating and iterating from it. Every time you do an event and you really click with someone, start building that list out. You know, some people, if you're really good and you have experience in business, can go into this and know specifically who their target audience is and then build their business off of that. But most of us starting off don't have a manual on how to start a business. So it's okay to start and then just refine as you go, but just make sure you're refining. And that's why this method really works as you're building that out. Because as you refine your target market, you start to find different events to go after.
I love a smart presenter because she did not answer the question. Because the true answer is not how long, which is what she asked, but what is the process, and that's what she's giving you.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm from Chicago.
Hello, Ryan.
Got a quick question for you. You mentioned the disclaimer that you put in before you collect the email addresses.
Yeah.
I just started the photo booth company, so I don't know exactly what was in the disclaimer. Can you kind of elaborate on that disclaimer for me, please?
Yeah, so there are very strict laws when it comes to marketing through email or text message or anything like that. I don't know what they all are internationally, so please go and look that up yourself. But in Canada, we're pretty strict about what we can and can't do when collecting emails. So we have to have a disclaimer saying how we're going to be using their information. And for us, it actually has to be a checkbox that is unchecked. So they physically have to check a box saying they understand that we're collecting their email and that they're okay with us sending an email after the fact. And then they're also supposed to do a second opt-in. But your photo booth can do at least the first one. So most photo booth softwares have a disclaimer or a survey option that you can enable so that you're automatically collecting that consent.
And because I'm the nerd in the house that does a lot of emailing, I will tell you that if you get a list or if they are at a show, it is assumed that you're going to be marketed to.
My name is Brendan. I'm from New York. My question is, earlier you were talking about the wedding industry and you mentioned to find association events.
Yep.
So it's really a two-part question. What would you define as an association event? And then what would you say, what is a good strategy in order to search or find those associations?
Yeah, so there's, I mean, every place is different, but there's like wedding planners associations, but there's also, like I said, like local, just groups of planners or wedding professionals that get together, right? Like you can probably find them on Facebook, wherever area you are, just put in like whatever, Boston Wedding Professionals group, and you will find them. Just get in there, start talking. They will have mixers, they will have open houses. That's kind of where you want to be able to get into them. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an association, but there are definitely wedding professional associations out there, but it can also just be a group of professionals that are in that area.
Excellent. I'll also mention NACE and a couple of other organizations like that that are exclusive for event professionals, including photo boothers.
Hi, my name is Jared from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah. And we just had a question about the size of your company roughly and how many employees and events you might roughly do and what the scope of your business is.
Yeah, so we have 8 full-time employees and 20-some part-time employees. We have 3 offices that we operate out of Toronto, Ottawa, and Calgary. A number of events, I think we roughly do between 400 and 500 a year. It really depends on, well, the year. It fluctuates. So we don't really go based on how many events we do. We also do a lot of longer events. They might be a week long. So it's like, is that 5 days or is that one event? Yeah. Hope that answers that.
I'm coming. Let me take this moment to congratulate and invite you all to join us Tuesday night. It's Latin night in the showroom downstairs. And at 9:30, we will be presenting the Hall of Fame Photo Booth Awards. And Catalina gets one Tuesday night. So please join us.
Hi, my name is Shar. My question is, hypothetically, how do you win back these partners or planners in case you don't meet their expectation?
Well, that's where you need to be careful. That's where you need to be super sure that you can deliver if you are going to be reaching out to them or sponsoring them, because you only get one chance at a first impression. Unfortunately, there might not be any way to win them back if something does go wrong. So that's why I always say, do not launch new products. Make sure you are very sure about what you're able to execute. Test everything, which you should be doing anyways. But make sure you're confident, because you likely won't be able to win someone back if it goes left.
Smart people in this room.
Yep, I had a question about corporate events. Do you still use the social platforms as LinkedIn or Instagram?
So I don't use Instagram to find corporate clients. They're not generally on there. We use that more as like a portfolio, so if they do check out our Instagram, then they see that we're still relevant. In terms of LinkedIn, I just started dabbling in it, but I highly recommend that you look at Ursula for photo booth marketing. She has an entire section just on how to do corporate reach out through LinkedIn, and it's very successful for her. We rely mostly on doing this kind of work or reoccurring revenue from the existing agencies that we work with.
Wow. Ursula is going to be speaking tomorrow. And if you can get past the accent and the four-letter words, you're going to love her.
She's the best. You have to go to her class.
Your name is your question, please. Hi, I'm Nima from Texas. You mentioned, I think you called it a mosaic photo booth, or a photo booth that gives your clientele some actions.
Yep.
Can you elaborate more on this kind of interactive photo booth stuff?
Absolutely. So a mosaic photo booth is essentially a giant picture that's made up of a bunch of little pictures. So you can actually see it in action. Check out the LA Photo Party booth on the trade show floor. They will have one there, and that's the software that we actually use as well. What's really nice about the mosaic is that it offers a photo booth experience, and then the interactive part of them actually being able to put it on the wall. Now we take it a step further sometimes, and we put stuff on the wall that if they cover it with the sticker, it makes them go and do something else. Or they can even, you can even gamify it by having prizes. So it'll actually print out on the photo, being like, hey, you're a winner, on their sticker, and then that just really makes it very engaging if you let them know, like, keep coming back and taking more photos because you could win a prize. The mosaic is probably one of our most popular ones when it comes to larger corporate.
Play than a year of conversation. Gamify your marketing.
Yes. Catalina, first of all, thank you so much for everything you've done for the community. When I'm sitting in traffic, I'm listening to your podcast, so I soak up a lot of game from you. Hi everyone, my name is Dave from Canary Capital Rentals, and my question is, right now I'm running ads. I've been in business for 2 years, and I'm targeting consumers. So at this point, I'm running B2C, business to client. Have you ever tested running ads and going after wedding planners and event coordinators, and then offering the specific service you covered here today? And has there been a decent return?
So I've never done paid ads for planners. We used to do paid ads when we were going direct to consumers, and those, when we were at a lower price point, did generate some good traffic. I personally have never found success in doing that at the price point we're at now. We get more success by going direct to the suppliers who are gonna bring us those clients than doing paid ads. I will say we do paid Google ads for corporate, and that does give us a lot of return back on our investment. So again, it just really depends on who your target audience is. If you were like a drop-off booth and you're just looking to do volume, Facebook ads are gonna be great for you. And I'm not saying that, you know, it doesn't work for anyone else. You just need to be very talented in that, or hire a professional that knows what they're doing to be able to target those higher end people with paid ads.
Thank you.
He's drooling over here. He loved that answer, by the way.
Hi, I'm Irene from Burbank, California, and I wanted to ask, how do you go about a client who is a brand or corporate who wants to book you but wants to modify almost 70% of your contract?
Don't you love those people? Yeah, I tell them, yeah, that's not a problem. It'll have to be reviewed by my lawyer at $250 an hour, and then they generally put the pen away. Right. Or we have specific clauses that we are more than happy to remove. Like, we have a clause in there that says, like, we're gonna use this for marketing purposes, blah, blah, blah. If they don't want that in there, that's totally fine. You're paying me thousands of dollars. I don't need to use this for marketing. I want to, but I'm happy to take that away. Or copyright sometimes is one that we might be flexible on. But if they start getting into stuff like liability, hold harmlesses, waivers of subrogation, that kind of stuff is for my lawyer, because I don't want to do that. They will go away if you charge them, trust me.
Just a reminder, please, please, please have business insurance. Do you want to tell me what's